So this is question 21 now from SAT number 14. And let's jump in. So the question asks, the main purpose of the passage is to, and we know that this is a big picture question. It's question 21. It comes right after the end of the passage. So this is big picture. It's asking about the purpose of the passage. And the way to solve these typically is one, you do want a general comprehension, a general understanding of what the text is about. Just a sense of sort of the pacing of it. If it's a science based passage and you want to know like how many studies are involved, what are the studies doing, what is some of the commentary on it, what are they trying to find out. This is a little passage outline here. Of course, this is not something that you're going to do. You're not going to have time to analyze it like this, but this is a nice reference for us. We'll look at it in a second. So we want a general comprehension of the text. And beyond that, we want to go and look at two specific places. That's the title of the passage, which is a hit or miss. Maybe about 50% of the time, it'll tell us something important, and a lot of times it'll just tell us nothing. But in this case, it actually does tell us something good. And then we'll look at the first paragraph, because the SAT is pretty standard in the sense that it will tell us what it's about within the first paragraph. So let's start with just this general passage outline. So we start by comparing the difference between a house cat and a wildcat. Scientists have found the genetic change behind this transformation, right? Then a quote from a scientist about discovering the genetics behind domestication, the history of domestication of cats, the scientific study and some findings. So this would refer to this study. The most intriguing findings, right, of this study, specific genes are located, another quote from a scientist, other genes the scientists found, and then comparing cats to dogs. That gives us a general sense. So it really does focus on a single study, which we found here, or a single series of studies. But along the way, we get quotes from different scientists commenting on things. We get other comparisons and some extra information. So pretty standard. If we also look at these two moments, so the subtitle, or really the title of the passage, is The Genes That Turned Wildcats into Kitty Cats. And that tells us pretty clearly what this passage is about. It's about finding out, it's about studies that look at the genes that allowed wildcats to become kitty cats, or allowed them to become domesticated cats. In the first paragraph, we start with this, which is the comparison between house cats and its direct ancestors, the wildcats, right? Some comparisons. Then it says, now scientists have begun to pinpoint the genetic changes that drove this remarkable transformation. The findings, based on the first high-quality sequence of the cat genome, could shed light on how other creatures become tame. So everything taken together really just tells us that what this passage does is it focuses on some specific studies that look at the genes that underlie the transition from wild cats into domesticated cats. And we should expect that our interface has something to do with that. A says, summarize the study of genetic differences between various breeds of domestic cats. And we want to be very careful here, make sure we pay attention to every particular word. Because summarize the study of the genetic, so far that's good, but when we continue and say we're studying the genetic differences between breeds of cats, domestic cats, that doesn't work. Because we're not looking at the differences between breeds of cats. What we're doing is we're looking for the differences or the genetic changes that occurred when we went from wild to domestic. So this answer is correct. B says that the passages describe findings, so far so good, regarding the benefits that cats provided to humans as a result of domestication. And this is also not something that the passage highlights. It actually, I don't think the passage even talks at all about the benefits that cats provided to humans. It actually just said that they sort of domesticated themselves, meaning the cats were benefiting and deriving more value from the humans than I think the humans were giving to them. But in any case, the finding, it's the main point of the passage is going to be in the beginning, it's going to be in the title. We have nothing about this, so we can get into B. C says that the purpose is to discuss research into the genetic changes that cats underwent as part of domestication. Discuss research into the genetic changes cats underwent as part of domestication. So far, pretty much exactly what we want. So it's a good answer to this. Let's keep it. He says, present experimental evidence contrasting the behavior of wildcats and domestic cats. So this, is talking about wildcats and domestic cats. However, what we're doing is contrast behavior which is not what the passage does. The passage looks at the genetic changes between the transition. So we're not contrasting behavior. Moreover, we're looking at genomic sequencing, not experimental evidence. For that reason, we can go with D and choose the answer choice C for our correct answer.